Good afternoon, good afternoon, my viewers and my learners. Welcome to the lesson of today being on 24th of June. I know that in some schools in Kenya, learners are doing midterm exams or assessment for the 844 system or curriculum, and I want us to guide learners on how to answer questions. As we prepare, I'm very sure for the midterm exam of 2023. So please work with me for around 30 minutes so that we can get what you are supposed to get. Then from there, I'll guide you what to do next. To start with, I want us to work together. Under the map reading, as we know, the paper has 60 questions, and this is a very nice paper, a signal paper that I have gotten from somewhere, and I promise that whenever I come across a good material, I must bring it to the learner's attention so that we understand what is happening in the rest of the world. So you work with me as we enjoy the lesson of today. To start with, I want us to go through the map reading. And this is a local area. A local area is a very simple map. In fact, if you can see on my screen what I've projected, we have an area that is very simple. I want to guide learners. In fact, if you can see, we have road from the northern side to the southern side, from the northwestern side to the eastern side. I can say that road transport might be it is the major form of transport in the region. So in a local area, I can see we have what you call a market at the northern part of the map. We have the market somewhere here, and there is a certain symbol here. We would like to know what is this later. We have a local town. You can see in the town we have the church, we have the police station, we have the geo, we have health services, and also we have the transport network in the region. Then the northwestern side, we have what you call these are scraps. I can call them scraps because there is a cattle depot here. Then we have the CC, Hope is the chief's camp. Then we have a mosque. We have a mosque somewhere here. MSQ, a mosque. Then we have River Loco and the tea factory. We have the tea factory. In fact, we can confirm that one because of there is tea in this region. There is tea here in this region. Then we have the forest with what you call the sawmilling. Then the southern part of the map, we also have this is another mosque. So there is a mosque, the northern side of the map and the southern side of the map. Then we have a market also, the southern side of the map and the northern side of the map. We have a quarry. Then means that maybe we have mining, we're not sure, because it might be abandoned the quarry or exhausted the quarry, and we say that once it's exhausted, what happens? We say that we had the mining, but now we don't have. We have the paddy field. This is a rice, so which means we have irrigation farming. And in fact, when you go through the map, I can conclude that it is only rice that we have as a staple food. We also have tea. You can see the tea factory, but not instead it's a cash crop, with a major cash crop. Then we have the cattle keeping in the region. We have transport, we have mining, we have market also. We have market, the southern side of the map, and the northern side of the map. That is what you call market. Then we have what you call a Ginary, letter G, the north eastern side of the map. we have what you call a greenery, which means we also have cotton and this map, all in the map. Is the map complete? Let's check. This is what you call the local town. We have the title in the town. You can see the title, local area. Then we have what you call the key. You can see the key. We have the key down here. This is the key. In fact, we can go through it. We have the tarmac road. This is a quarry. We have the planted forest. This is a build-up area, hostel, sawmilling, tea, governance office. Oh, so which means local area is a county, since we have the county offices in the region. Then we have the chief's camp, the cattle dip, we have the school, the market, police station, we have the tea factory, ginnery, mosque, church, and the town boundary. Allow me to go through the first question very, very fast, so that we can understand what we are supposed to answer this question. The first question is, the land in a local area rises from, if I go back to the map, the land in a local area rises from, if we can see the flow of the river is flowing from the southwestern side to the northeastern side. Southwestern side to the northeastern side. So this land rises from the northeastern side to the southwestern side. And also the land slopes from southwestern side to the northeastern side. So the question was, the land in the area rises from, the land rises from the northeastern side to the southwestern side. We can also confirm from the video that this is the lowland. You can see the lowland here. This is the lowland, because the river drains into the lowland, the northeastern side, and the southwestern side is a highland. So the land rises from the the northeastern side. 3 of the following cash crops are grown in the area. In fact, we saw rice, paddy rice, because we have the paddy field. The cotton ginnery, we have tea, because of the tea factory. We don't have what you call sugar cane. We can confirm from the map, yes. We have, this is the ginnery for cotton. You can check the key. You can see what is being written here. G for ginnery, so you can see this here also. G for, so we have cotton. We have tea, you can see tea is here, and also in the map we have tea. Then we have what you call, we have rice. We have the paddy field, we have rice. So we don't have sugar cane in the region. There is no sugar cane in the region. The question number 3, is saying that it is true to say that the people in a local town are, in terms of a region, if you go through the map, in the town we have a church, the piers, police station, the development areas, the hostel, and so members in the church are Christians. But again, if they ask you members in the map, you can see we had a mosque somewhere here. This is a mosque. There is another one here, a mosque. There is another one down here. So in the map, we can see that in the local area, this is an Islamic area, but in the town, we have what you call Christianity. So we have to be very much careful on how we answer this question. So it is true to say that people in a local area are Christians. The main factor that could have contributed to the growth of the town, I always say, learners, that under map reading, the towns are being, they grow because of the transport network. IC transport network or the road junction. In fact, you can confirm this one from the map. You can see where the town is, and the town is growing, has grown at the road junction or the transport network. The question number 5, the climate of the northwestern side of the map. The northwestern side of the map, we saw what you call scraps and the Kcpe dip. So this climate simply is hot. It is hot and dry because of the scraps and the Kcpe dip for pastoral farming. We cannot do pastoral farming where the climate is hot and wet that it can support crop growing or cool and wet. Which of the following economic activity is not carried out? We said the cash crop growing, we saw cotton and tea. Pastoralism, we saw what you call the Kcpe dip. Mining, yes, there is a quarry fishing, no fishing in the region. The question number 7, local area is likely to be, it is a county because we saw the governance office. You can see the governance office somewhere here, which means this region is a county level. This region is a county level. So the question number 8 says like this. Lake Victoria Basin is densely populated. I always told my learners that Lake Victoria Basin is densely populated simply because of the climate. The climate around Lake Victoria Basin supports what you call crop growing, and that's why simply because in Africa and also in Kenya, our backbone for the economy is agriculture, and that's why this region is highly populated because of a good climate. This question also, I can also relate it to what you call the Nile Valley is also densely populated. It's another question, simply because of the availability of water for irrigation farming. That is Nile Valley. But with Lake Victoria Basin, it is agriculture, the climate for agriculture. Sometimes they can draw what you call a lake. We assume this is Lake Victoria. We assume so. Then we have this region as a Lake Victoria Basin. They ask you, this is Lake Victoria, and the area marked the X. The major economic activity carried out at a place marked the X. This is a Lake Victoria Basin. The climate is hot and wet. Enough convection of rainfall because of nearness to large water body. The economic of this region is agriculture or farming. But in the lake, we have always fishing. The foreign people were the original inhabitants of East Africa, except, in fact, the Dorobo, Ogumba, the Pygmies. These are members from the central part of Africa, northeastern part of Africa. Which one of the following statements is not true about the position and the shape of Africa? The west to the east distance on the land mass of Africa is about 7,200 kilometers. Very true. The distance from western part of Africa to eastern part of Africa, the distance is 7,200 kilometers. The continent is wide to the north and narrow to the south. Of course, very true. Africa is separated from the Iberian Peninsula in Europe by the Strait of Gibraltar. Yes, very true. And Africa is the second largest continent after North America. The answer D is contradicting. Of course, Africa is the second largest continent after Asia and North America. So the answer was supposed to be dog. Africa is the second largest continent in the world. That one is very correct. Up to this statement here is very correct. But not after North America. Should be after Asia. The standards that guides the behavior of people in the society are referred to us as, we have the Kenyan constitution, we have the moral values, the rules and regulations, the taboos, we have moral values. The standards that guide the behavior of people in a society are referred to as moral values. When we talk about taboos, these are unwanted behaviors in the society. The following are principles of democracy, except provide equal opportunities to all citizens. Equal opportunities, it is a principle. Ensure there is in an equal representation. Answer B is wrong. Not unequal, should be equal. Answer C is saying, ensuring there is justice for all. Yes, promoting freedom for all people. So the answer B is saying, ensuring there is unequal, should be ensuring there is equal either distribution of resources. The question number 13. This figure is always tested. It is a common figure in any exam. The part labeled M is called, first of all, this is a fold mountain, and it's a common figure that we get, a common feature that we get in any paper. Even the national assessment papers, we have this feature. This is a fold mountain, which was formed through folding process. Then we have various parts of this mountain. Like now, we have the part labeled M, and also we can have another one at this point. We can call it maybe X. I always tell my learners that the process formation of this mountain, the rocks bend. The rocks bend when compression of forces from this side reacted. These are compression of forces when they reacted from these sides. So the forces involved are compression of forces. The process of formation is folding. This is cycline, the cycline, and this is the anticline. So the part marked M is cycline. The part marked X is anticline. So the part labeled M is cycline. Examples of these mountains in Africa: we have the Atlas Mountains, the northern part of Africa, the Drakensberg Mountains, the southeastern part of South Africa, and we have Kcpe and the Kcpe ranges on the western side of southern part of Africa. Which one of the following is not true about the slash and burn method? This is, we call it shifting cultivation. You know, traditionally we have two methods of farming. We had the slash and burn, and also we have bush fallowing. When we compare the two, the slash and burn and the bush fallowing, slash and burn was purely traditional, because we see that we depended on farming labor using horse and also small portions of land. We slash, we burn, then we shift from one portion of land completely, we don't come back. Under slash and burn, all shifting. Bush fallowing, we had some portions of land. Then we cultivated the land. When it gets exhausted, we go to a virgin land. Then we shall come back after the first land has gained fertility. So, the slash and burn, which one is not true? It was practiced where land was blent. Of course, yes, blent land that enables members to move from one portion of land to another without coming back. Number 2, simple tools were used as hoes. Of course, yes, traditionally. It was also known as bush fallowing. No, we had slash and burn, all shifting cultivation. It was practiced where people were few. Yes, of course, because we have answer A and answer D, they are. It was done where land was plenty because of few population. So the answer here was supposed to be C. It was also called bush fallowing. Bush fallowing is another method of farming. The main reason for the rapid industrial development in South Africa, we say in South Africa, a wide range of minerals. A wide range of minerals. We say the large market for neighboring, no. Answer D, no. Transport, no. Availability of valuable minerals. And that's why South Africa is industrialized country in Africa, of course. 3 of the following cultural practices led to rapid increase in population. Which one is not? Late marriage leads to slow population growth. Polygamy, high. Early marriage, high. Wife inheritance, high. Late marriage leads to slow population growth. Koitarel Arap Samoei of the Nandi did the 3 of the following except: blessed warriors before going to war, yes. Opposing the construction of the Kenya Honorable Line, yes. He led his people in religious activities, yes. He led his people to collaborate. Koitarel Arap Samoei from the Nandi never collaborated. He resisted. In fact, he has the longest history in Kenya, that he was the longest resisting member in Kenya. He resisted against the invasion of the white people on his land. Which one of the following can lead to one losing his citizenship in Kenya. If the person loses his job in Kenya, you can't lose. If one is found to be corrupt, if one acquired citizenship using false documents, yes, use false document, you lose your citizenship. The question number 19. The main problem facing beef farming in Kenya and Tanzania is drought. Beef farming drought, pastoralism drought because of the climate change. The government, remember the question is the main. Inadequate market for beef products, attacks from wild animals, lack of capital to expand the ranches. The question is asking the main one. The main one is prolonged drought. The government encourages Juakari industries in Kenya mainly because Juakari, number one, to make Kenya the most industrial country, it's one of the objectives. Absorb primary school leavers, another objective. And encourage the development of industries, yes. Help Kenyans to become self-employed, that's the main one. Self-employment or self-reliance. Boys and girls, if you are watching, we have this question being brought in any paper, Juakari industries, self-reliance or self-employment. The question number of the following are southern Cushites in Tanzania. In fact, the Dahalo are found in Kenya. Dahalo and the Sanya. I've written something here that in Kenya we have Sanya and the Dahalo. Then in Tanzania we have the Hazida, Aramanik. We have Mbogo, Sandawe, Iraq, Burundi. There are so many in Tanzania, the southern Cushites. But the Dahalo and the Sanya, the Dahalo is found, they are found in Kenya. Which one of the following is not a responsibility of spouses in marriage? Providing family needs, yes. Educating children, yes. Providing security for family members, yes. Misguiding, no. The spouses, they can't misguide learners. They should act as a role model to learners. The following are functions of the Senate in Kenya, except approving the national budget. This one is done by the National Assembly. Like now you saw some 2-3 weeks ago, I think, when the CS for Finance was reading the budget. Even if we have senators in that house, but the senators sat in the visitors' chamber. Those members who were in the podium, they were members of the National Assembly. Deciding on the allocation of the finance in the counties, their major, of course, they represent the interests of the counties, yes. Making the decision to remove the president, yes. Represent the interests of the counties, yes. So the answer A is saying, approving the national budget, this work is done by members of parliament. Number 24. Which one of the following statements is not true about the Lake Market W? This is Lake Turkana. First of all, Turkana is a freshwater lake. We have a river from Ethiopia known as River Omo draining into Lake Turkana River Omo. So Turkana is a freshwater lake. We have River Kerio drains into it from Mount Elgon, Kerio and the Takwel, yes. A freshwater lake, yes. Then parrotfish are caught from the lake. It is a fault lake, of course. So the answer C is odd one out. Which one of the following statements is true about the country marked P? Which country is that? P is Somalia. P is Somalia. Answer A. It was colonized by the Portuguese. No, in fact, in Somalia, we had these members known as the FBI. Its main export is minerals. No, it got its independence in 1962. Should be 1961. 1961. It has the longest coastline in East Africa. Of course, yes, the longest coastline in Eastern Africa, that is Somalia. The main tourist attraction in the shaded area marked Q. Where is Q? QE is along the Kenyan coast. You have sand beaches, the warm sand beaches along the Kenyan coast. Wildlife, of course, is in Kenya. And how can we promote wildlife in Kenya, boys and girls? Tourism, we said within Kenya, we lower the charges to promote domestic tourism. International tourism, we do what we call vigorous advertisement. Remember, in Kenya, the most tourist attraction is wildlife, and in Switzerland is beautiful sceneries. How can we protect wildlife? It is educating members to understand the importance of wildlife. The number 2, how can we stop the conflict between wild animals and human beings? We said we erect electric fences around the game parks. When attending to goons during first aid, the first thing that a first aider should do is take the patient to the hospital, stop the bleeding as fast as possible, bandage the one, wash the wound. When attending, we should wash the wounds from inside to outside. All the foreign Commonwealth members were British colonies, except, in fact, Kenya was under the British, Nigeria was under the British, Botswana under the British, and Mozambique was under the Portuguese. The question is, the former members of Commonwealth, they were colonized by British, and Mozambique was under Portuguese. But as we communicate, the membership to Commonwealth is open, so long as you meet the qualification, whether you were under the British or not. Nowadays, it is open. But there before, it was, you have to be a pure member of British. Which of the following is not true about horticulture in Netherlands? Number 1, most of the farming is done in natural land, that is Kenya. Most of the produce is consumed locally, that's Netherlands. Most of the farms are highly mechanized in Netherlands. Adequate capital is available, that is Netherlands. So most of the farming is done on natural land, that is Kenya, because of lack of capital and the lack of goodwill for the government to support farmers and agriculture growing. Remember, Netherlands, it is done under what you call the polders. We call it the reclaimed land. So, by the end of this lesson, a learner to understand the difference between Netherlands and also Kenya. Till another time, thank you.